Hello and welcome to another episode of 3D Paint. Today I am going back to the Hulk. I'm just doing an overhead view today, guys, of the Hulk. I used some of Vallejo's liquid mask. I have a video on that. You can see that right here. Basically what I did was I outlined it with liquid mask, and you can see the blue in there. Then I put saran wrap, and the saran wrap seems to really stick to the liquid mask. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do a paint job today of Royal Purple by Vallejo, because I have it. I'm gonna add some airbrush thinner in this, because I don't have it in airbrush form, which is not a big deal. So let's throw a little bit of that purple in there, and I'm gonna throw in some black. We're gonna try and darken it up a little bit. Just one little drop. There we go. And we're gonna try and make it a dark purple. All right, so that's the color we're kind of going for. It's really a dark kind of color. Do a little bit more airbrushing, and then we're gonna finish him up with some regular paint. Get that dark purple in there. So we're doing the same thing we did when we painted the Hulk. If you didn't see that video of last week, you can take a look at that video right here. And basically what we're doing is putting down a dark base, and then we'll lighten it up and highlight it to give it highlighted color. Alright, like that color. Alright, so now we have the base coat. We're going to let that dry a little bit, and then we'll go in here with this light purple right here. It's regular purple, Vallejo paint. We'll go in there and we'll do some highlights on the pants, and then we should be done with the pants. As usual, keep this off to the side because you might need to knock down some of the color, some of the highlights. Keep it off to the side. I'll clean out this airbrush, and then we'll come back and do the highlights. So he's been drying for a little bit. I loaded up some of this regular purple. We're going to go in here and we're just going to add some highlights. Try to follow like the leg, you know, where you put the highlights on the leg. You know, it's hard to see. Highlight his butt. Give him some butt cheeks. Not too much back here. And I'm just doing two colors for this one. Alright, and then we're just going to mist it. Try and make some of the dark areas pop a little bit more. Alright, knock it down. Nothing fancy, guys, just giving them some color on the pants. Time for the moment of truth. Let's see how this came out. Almost dry there. I'm going to go ahead and take off some of this tape. Pretty good so far. So far so good. Doesn't look like I have to do too much touch up. Now we can peel off this stuff. Pretty interesting how this stuff works. So far I've been pretty pleased with this stuff. I mean, we could even rub it too. Just don't want to rub into my paint too much. That's why I like to peel it with the tweezers. Then you gotta worry about scratching the paint too. So. So far this stuff's been pretty good. Still got to touch up some of that right there. Get in with a brush and just touch it up. But all in all, that looks cool, I think. And anything I need to touch up on the pants, I could just touch up with a brush and go in there and fix it up. Alright, I know everything looks a mess right now. I'm a messy painter, but this is where we're at right now. I'm getting a fine tip brush, and I'm going to start working on the white of his teeth. So I'm going to pour a little bit of white on this right here. I'm going to work on him a little bit. I'm just trying to like paint in some of his teeth. Now that is really tiny. It's hard for me to see, especially because the paints are darker. And what I like to use in times like this are these. They are magnifiers with a little light. So we're going to turn that light, put them on my face so I could see what I'm doing. Just makes it a little bit easier to paint. Tilt him the way it works for you. Don't work against stuff because then it's just going to make a mess. What I'm going to do in there is I'm going to put some white in the mouth for the tongue. It's fine if it's green. It's a very dark green, and that's probably the way the mouth of the Hulk looks, but the tongue is going to be a flesh color, so we're going to kind of prep it for that flesh color. And if you look on the top, he has teeth on the top too. And now you could get away with not putting teeth on the top the way he's yelling, but I can make them out, and I kind of want to do that. Alright, now we're going to try and go for the eyes. Don't want to mess this up, but we're going to go in there and get very little bit of paint. Messed up a little bit, I'll fix it. Let me get the other side and then I'll fix it. That's fine. I'm going to go in there with a dark green and get in there and clean it up a little bit. Kind of the outline of the eyes. I know it doesn't look pretty right now, guys. I promise you I'm going to try and make this look pretty. Sometimes it has to look like crap before it starts looking good. Alright, some idea of an eye. So before I start straightening out the eyes, I'm not even going to bother with that. We're going to go for the eyeball. So I'm going to go with that light green. I'm going to do a little dab right here, right on my cardboard here. Take a little dab of that. I'm going to go in here, and we're just going to put a little dab right where his eye should be. Alright, bigger. Alright, so it looks ridiculous right now. You're like, well, you don't know how to paint. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. Normally I use this brush, but I'm going to try a different type of brush. I got these from Hobby Lobby. A guy I was talking to recommended them to me, and he said it's really good for small things. They're these brushes right here. They're rubber-tipped brushes. The reason why I was so interested in these is that tip one. I like that tip. I want to see if I could put a little black dot on that and dot his eye. Like I said, guys, bear with me. We're going to get there. Alright, put a little dab of black. Just the tip. There we go. And now we're going to go for the iris of the eye. Alright, got the one eye. Not quite. Alright, so I messed up on that eye. That's fine. We'll just take the brush again and go in there and redraw the eyeball. We could try to see if we can clean it up, but usually that size is really hard, for me anyway, to try and get. So it's usually easier just for me to poke him in the eye again. Alright, but we're starting to get eyes, slowly but surely. But while we're waiting for that to dry, let's go ahead and take that silicone brush again. And this time we're going to dip it in the white. You don't really need to do it with this size model, but I'm going to try it because I like messing things up. And I'm going to try and put a little glint in his eye, if you will. There we go. I like that. So you can kind of see the little glint in his eye. So I'm going to try that black again. We screwed the pooch on the last one. We're going to try it again. That's a little bit better. Alright. Now we'll try to add that little speck in his eye again with the white. Dab him in the eye again. So it looks like it's glint in his eyes. There you go. That's working out really well. I know it's hard to see. It's really detailed work. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to get that dark airbrush model air paint that I'm almost out of. Oliver green. Hopefully I have enough to squirt on here. Yeah, baby. I'm going to go around the outside of the eyes with the detail brush and shape up those eyes. It'll make little dark shadows underneath his eyes, and will also close up the eyes. So it does two things for us. And that looks a little rough now, but once it dries, it should look really good. Eyes are hard, guys. No ifs, ands, or buts. Eyes are hard. What we'll try and do, because they are pretty rough the way I did them, is we'll try and blend them a little bit. Dark green, and just go up underneath his eye, because it looks like it's... Alright, there we go. And you could leave it like that. I mean, that doesn't look horrible, but I like to smooth it out a little bit. So what I'm going to do is take some of the lighter green, and I'm going to use it, blend it a little bit. So I'm going to take some of that lighter green, and I'm going to take some of this airbrush thinner. Just drop it right on it, and I'm going to try and thin it out a little bit. Cardboard's kind of absorbing it a little bit. No big deal. We're going to thin it out a little bit, just to make it a little bit watery, and we're gonna go over it to try and smooth it out a little bit. once that dry, that should blend in really nice. Alright, let's move on to the tongue part of this. And I'm going to go with a really dark red. That's kind of a tonguey red. Alright, I like the way that looks. We got kind of like that going. Alright, so we got the tongue going. Now I want to go with some black right here, and we're going to work on his hair and let everything else dry while we're working on his hair. So I'm going to go with a bigger brush, black loaded up on there, and paint that hair in. It's just black. Going for the big spots first, and then I'm going to go with the detail brush to get closer. So I'm just going for the big spots that need to be covered with black, and then I'm going to go back with the detail brush to try to fade it in. Alright, that's pretty blocked out. Alright, now I'm going to go with the detail brush. It's a thinner brush, and I'm going to go in there and start working on the detail of the hair, swishing into his face or swishing into his brow. And I'm swooping down, trying to make his hair look like it's going into his head. It's a weird hairline. It's not like a normal hairline, almost like clumpy. Really black. I went with black hair. Add a little water, mix this up, and now we're gonna do eyebrows. That looks pretty good. Got an angry kind of looking face going on. Alright, so I'm gonna put this over here. I'm gonna take the bigger brush now, and I'm gonna take some Citadel's shade, some black shade. We're gonna do this to get some detail out of the face. I'm gonna dip it. Alright, there we go. Put this right over here. And what we're gonna do is first we're gonna go over those teeth. I'm trying to make the teeth look a little less clean. More like teeth. We're going to go in the mouth, add some darkness to the mouth, and then we're going to go over the teeth here, into the mouth, there we go. Alright, and we can highlight that if it doesn't look right, and then I'm going to go under the eyes to bring out some of that detail in the brow, get more of that anger look. Ears. Give some detail to them, make them pop a little bit. Alright. Okay, got some pop going on there. Alright, so I want to knock it down a little bit. What I'm going to take is the highlight color this time. I'm going to do it on the plastic here. I'm going to throw some of the airbrush thinner. And I'm going to try and knock down some of the shading. Where it won't, it'll cover it, but it won't kill it. knock it down. That's all we're doing, is we're knocking it down. Let that dry and see how that goes. Oh shit. Well, that's $15 down the drain. Alright, I think that's coming out pretty good. Wish I didn't knock over that Citadel. That's expensive shit. Alright, I want to go around the hair. I feel like the hair is not popping like I would like it to. So I'm going to go around the hair with some of the Citadel shader and just try to, I don't know, create some shadow around the hair just to bring it out a little bit more. So I'm not liking the way this is coming out as far as the hair goes. I think that's good so far. I'll come back in and let this dry out.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.